Telecom providers and service providers are absolutely, by definition, becoming cloud providers if they haven't already. And there's a lot of different services. And when you think about the bring your own devices and that whole trend with smartphones, you're actually going to see the telco providers and service providers be an extension of an organization's IT to a much tighter degree than they ever have been before. So it's a very compelling need for them to be thinking about both their issues as a cloud provider and how do they protect their own systems, as well as how is this an opportunity and what are the issues that they need to do in terms of structuring their systems to be able to be this outsourced CIO for the world.
That operators should be aiming for trying to make sure that they've got all the facets covered for data protection of their customers out in the cloud. With that, though, there's a lot of area for innovation, and we see things like security as a service now that have made their way into the CSA guidance. I think those are going to play big in the cloud service provider role. But also things like desktop as a service, which may be foreign to some of the cloud service providers as telcos. Your other providers out there, whether it may be Google or others, are used to providing these application type services, whereas the telcos were more based historically around infrastructure. So these new services may bring new opportunity, but also some room for innovation with the telcos and other providers, service providers in the cloud space.
It's twofold for the telcos and the service providers. It's how do we best secure our systems in this multi-tenant environment to provide the greatest level of assurance to our customers, as well as how do we leverage that infrastructure to be able to manage the rest of IT, to manage all these other devices out there and provision them and secure them and deliver appropriate security services to them through the cloud.
The operators, they have a lot of challenges in front of them. Some of them are around the multi-tenant environments that we talk about. I mean, just from your basic beginning of configuration management, for instance, the service provider needs to make sure that they're ensuring that the customer's configurations are what are needed to be in place in order to make sure that they're ensuring or protecting that data appropriately, so the right controls are in place to not allow data spillage from one customer's environment over to the other. This has been seen already out there by early cloud adopters. And so just to make sure that those right appropriate controls, configurations, and things are put in place are a huge challenge for them. But on the backside of that, the opportunities then come to them to be able to provide to their customers and also their customers' customers services that are standard, repeatable, global, that offer opportunities then to their customer to save money around capital expenditures, things of that nature. We at Symantec believe there are really about 4 key design principles around the cloud and that silver lining that we discussed. And the first really being security by design. And what that means is really planning out the enterprise's move to the cloud, evaluating all the criteria of moving that either application infrastructure or services out to the cloud, and making sure that you have the proper security to match that going to the cloud service. The second one really being security through integration. And so a lot of times we'll couple integration and automation when we're talking to enterprises about this, because to integrate your solution and give what we call actionable intelligence becomes very key, to allow them to see the different facets of security throughout the cloud applications or cloud services that they get, and make sure that they've integrated those to share the information and make that solution much smarter. So the third principle, being security through visibility, really is about giving the customer the in-depth information into those services, being able to give them the reporting and evidence that they need to actually see that the controls they have out in the cloud are working, and the management interfaces into those cloud services so that they have good control throughout the service that they're getting. And the final principle is security through automation, and this one for me is very big, and I believe for most of the customers that I talk to today is they're being challenged with doing more with less, all of them, and how do we automate a lot of the processes. So around security, process is very big. To be able to do things like incident management or forensic type work or track incidents, I want to be able to automate as much as that process as I can, because most of the organizations, like I said, are being asked to do more with less.